Bum, bum, bum. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the Big Hair Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, wherever it is you are, whatever it is you're doing. Hello. Welcome to Friday Reads. It's Friday Reads. It's Friday Reads. It's my wedding anniversary. It's Friday Reads. Yes, today is Friday, the 10th of May. It's my wedding anniversary today. Well, it's mine and the husband's, actually. It's both of us. Both have decided to celebrate it on the same day. Funny that. Yes, we're celebrating our wedding anniversary today. It's very nice. Very nice. We've exchanged gifts, well, cards this morning, which was nice. So that was nice. He also got me some chocolate. Got me my favourite little chocolates. Unfortunately, it's Benedict's favourite little chocolates. And when he spotted the box, he was like, "Ooh!" And I was like, "Yes, I will share them with you later." So yes, that was lovely. Got no plans, no kind of special plans. We went out last weekend. The husband took me out for a lovely slap-up lunch in Cambridge. So that was our special treat for the wedding anniversary. We thought we might walk down to the local public house this evening and early evening, and perhaps to do a little walk down the river, by the river, if it's not too rainy. Today's a bit, you can tell by the picture, it's sunny and cloudy, and we're due rain. So there is a decided lack of laundry this week. There is no laundry news, I'm afraid. It has been rainy on and off all week. We had a good day of solid rain on Wednesday. I like a solid day of rain, and we got that on Wednesday, which was I was nice, because I actually went to see a friend for lunch, and I arrived there, and she likes weather. She's like me. She's a weather girl. She's a girl that likes weather, and she was just like, "Whew, a bit rainy." I was like, "I know, I like it." And she's like, "Not on the motorway though." And that was, I have to say, that was less than fun, driving on the motorway in the pouring rain. But we made it. We got there. I have BookTube Cat. I have Indy the kitten, who's a snoozing. He's all well from his abscess. Everything's cleaned up, and he's looking as handsome as ever. Parish notices. There are 2 parish notices. My shop has had got a few bookmarks in. I've just updated this morning and put some more Poirot bookmarks, which I haven't brought with me. That was clever. And in the other room. So if you want to just nip into the other room, you can have a look. So they are the long thing ones with Poirot. So if you are interested in a Poirot bookmark, I've put 4 in this morning. And I'm going to be looking at doing I've got a different idea. I need to sit down and work it out and practice it. So it's going to take me a week or 2 to get it in the shop. But I'm pleased with it. I've got it in my head. So I shall have a go at doing that in the next week. There's also, if you're interested in yarn, if you're from my Tuesday knit group and you are interested in yarn, there is some D-stash yarn that I have put in there. I think there's still some skeins left of lovely yarn that I've never used, and it's still pristine. And if you want to get that at a reduced price, that's in the shop for you as well. The shop is the BighairedBookworm, all one word. I should pop the details in the description box below. So there's that. Second parish notice is that June is finally able to offer her CPC refresher course. She's doing it this Saturday at the Village Hall. At the Church Hall, it is the regular village market, second Saturday of the month. But June is decided to offer this Saturday and next Saturday if you need to renew your CPC licence. So if you're your haulage licence has lapsed, or you need to do a refresh course, or you're doing continuous training for your haulage business, or just your general haulage needs, June's the gal for you. Her knees are an awful lot better, and she's able to get in and out of the cab now. It was looking tricky, but no, she's fine. She's hopping in and out of the cab like a demon that she is, and she's happy to help you with your haulage needs, should you have any. So there we go. That's it, BookTube. I'm going to give you the books now, which is why you are here. Yes, it is why you are here. So what have I read this week? I haven't finished the Golden State Killer book, which I'm reading on my Kindle, but I did pick up and read another book because somebody said last week, "Have you read There's 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because I'd be interested in what you think about it. Well, I had mentioned it in my I quite fancy reading that video, and then it had come on the Kindle for 99p, so I had nabbed it for 99p. So I'm talking about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is a contemporary fiction book. I think it came out last year, so it's actually quite new for me to read it. So I got it on the Kindle. They were obviously doing an offer, and I read it, and I think I read it in a day. It was one of those that I just flew through. It's about a movie star from the 40s, 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, and she was a one of that kind of old school Hollywood movie star from the Hollywood system. She's had 7 husbands. She's never done any interviews for a long time, and she wants to do an interview with this girl from a magazine, like supposedly kind of like Vogue, kind of Vogue-esque magazine, and she's going to do an interview with her, and she's going to she's basically doing giving her biography, but only to her. So it's like, why is it only to her? And then it's done in 2 perspectives. Kind of, you have the flow of the story, the biography, the movie star biography, and then you have what's happening in the reporter's life and how it connects. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. Is it perfect? Not in any way, shape or form. But was it an enjoyable, fun read? Yes. Was it? It was a little bit unexpected. I have to say, to begin with, there's something that happens you find out, and that was unexpected, but then I could see what was going to happen. I didn't love the character of the film star, and I'm not sure if you are supposed to. I'm not sure whether you are supposed to feel sympathy for her choices or kind of understand her choices. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it. I think also it's very broad brushstrokes, but the story isn't supposed to be an in-depth view of the kind of the movie system, or I don't want to say what the other thing is that it talks about, because then that would give it away. And most people I've seen haven't mentioned it, which I think is a good thing. So I thought it was more interesting than I thought it was going to be. It was so easy to read. And it actually made me want to go and watch some old films, because I love Bette Davis for a start, and I was just like, I wondered whether there was. I think she perhaps has taken from certain film stars and kind of taken little aspects of their life and woven that in, which is fascinating. And I liked the idea of that. So I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a really good book. So it's the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Is it perfect? No, but it was an enjoyable read, and I haven't read anything like that recently, where it's just a contemporary fiction that you just sink into and you enjoy the story. It has lived with me a little bit. I suppose it has lived with me a little bit. It does address some harder topics, and perhaps I can understand people saying that it isn't addressed deeply enough or with as much gravity as it should have, but I think that's a distinct choice that she has made, and I can understand why she's made that choice. But yes, it was an interesting book, so I recommend picking that up if you want a kind of a good contemporary fiction that you're going to enjoy, and it was, so that was good. That's my feelings for that. I went to the library not in our closest market town, but the district council town, which is over there. So the other town's over there, and then that's over there. So that's why I'm pointing over there. So I went to there because I had to go there for another reason. And so I went into the library and I picked up 2 books. I picked up Pig Tales from an Organic Farm by Helen Browning and Tim Finney. I've never heard of either of these books, but they had quite a good collection of non-fiction, kind of new non-fiction. So I picked that up. It's actually a better library than the library that we've got in the market town. So I think I will go there rather than the closer one because there was more choice. So, and there was things like this in. So that's Tales from an Organic Farm. I know nothing about it. I literally just thought that sounds interesting. And so I'm going to give that a go. And then I picked up In Your Defence by Sarah Langford. It's 11 criminal cases, stories that are as compelling as fiction with the added fascination of being essentially true. So Sarah Langford is a barrister. She is she is in a court, but she's a circuit barrister, which means that she gets sent out to do cases within the whole of the southeast England. So she may well only meet her defendant because she's a defence barrister. So she will only meet, quite often she'll only get the information, the papers, the day before, and read them and work on them that night and then see them. She may then work with that client over a period of time, over a year or two, or over years, but it may well be a one-off, and she may well pick up when another barrister is poorly. She may suddenly pick up for them, or if they're not able, their trials overrun, she might get that. So it's that kind of barrister rather than a kind of big high-profile criminal court barrister. So she does with family courts, and she deals with criminal courts, and she deals with all different types of cases. She does it in 11 different criminal cases. She makes clear at the beginning. I have read this, by the way. Otherwise, you'd be thinking, my word, you know an awful lot about this. I read this week. So she makes it clear in the beginning that the cases that she talks about are essentially true, but they are amalgamation of certain cases. So it's not that you could go back and actually find out what the case is. So one particular case will have sparked it, but the details may come from several different cases to essentially both obscure and highlight. So obscure what actually happened, but highlight the points that she thinks is what the essential point of the case was, or the kind of pertinent, the reason why she wants to talk about it. She will use various cases interwoven together into one story, one case to talk about the point. So she talks about divorcing couples, she talks about rape cases, she talks about battery, she talks about various kinds of cases, ones that you might not think about, as well as ones that you would imagine she would deal with. And there are 11 cases, and I have to say it was completely fascinating. She's done it well enough so that each case felt like a contained story in itself. Child custody is one of them as well. So she talks about, so they're kind of types of cases, and she's done it well enough so that there is enough interest in the actual case that she's discussing, as well as the other things around that particular case. And I think it's a fascinating way of talking about the law to somebody that knows not that much about it, and getting them interested into the intricacies of it and understand the process of it and the ins of court, to understand the kind of why a barrister's needed, and the kind of the pros and the cons of the system. So it's quite fascinating in that kind of way. And also she talks politically about the impact of the recent political decisions and how that's going to impact the courts of law. So it is fascinating for that. I've got somebody in my family who is involved in the law, so from that, who's in the legal profession. So some of it I was aware of anyway, and it made me realise how important it is, even if you are a layman and you've got nothing to do with it. You might say, well, I've not had any kind of, and I hope to not have any contact with it, it's still important to us as a society and as us as a community that it does work well and that it is fair and open to all and transparent, and it's important that we keep our eye on what happens in our legal system, because it will impact us so much as a community. So it was fascinating for that. Is it perfect? No, but it was a really good book to read, and I do recommend it. She interweaves a bit of her life in it so that you have an idea of who she is, to give kind of kind of show how it impacts a barrister, because it's very easy to watch them on the telly. You watch a kind of an idealised view of what a barrister is, and it to feel very distant. And so what she was trying to do was break down the barriers and say, look, this is the kind of impact it has on you as a person and the kind of people that will be drawn towards the legal profession. So that was really good. Each story, each case was fascinating in itself, and by the time I finished one, I wanted to know what was going on. I always wanted to read the next case, which was fascinating. So I highly recommend it. I do really recommend it if you are interested in, I mean, it does read like fiction. If you were interested in any kind of crime aspects, it's fascinating for that kind of thing. But it's also fascinating for the kind of legal process. And it has really made me think about it this week. I didn't want to read it too late at night. A couple of nights I was actually reading it just before I was going to sleep. And there was that kind of slightly disturbed feeling about it. I wasn't sure whether it was a good idea, but it was, because I still really enjoyed it. So yes, so I completely recommend that. So it's Sarah Langford's In Your Defence. Excuse me, I think it only came out last year. So looks like it's only just gone into the library, but looking at it, let's have a look. Yes, came out, first published last year. So I think it's only just come out as a paperback, but it's really good. I really recommend it. Sarah Langford's In Your Defence. So I've read 2 books this week, finished 2 books this week. My 7 Husbands and then In Your Defence. They're quite different, aren't they? Yeah. So what am I reading this week? I'm going to read Pig, Tales from an Organic Farm. Yes, I think that'll be quite interesting. I follow quite a lot of female farmers on Instagram because I find it quite a fascinating life, and it's kind of environmentally, and I think it's important to kind of, because I don't farm. I've got no kind of connection with that. Some people have farming history. I don't have anything like that. So I find it quite fascinating, these people that do, and the struggles. It's very easy to look at, because I actually do live in quite a rural area, and look at these big farms and think, oh yes, they're just fanning about doing the field. But they're not, there's more to it than that, and small holdings are always quite fascinating. So it'll be interesting to know that, especially the fact it's an organic farm, because I gather there's so many hoops that you have to kind of loop through in a kind of loopy fashion to actually get your kind of organic status and then keep it. So that will be fascinating. I also picked up a book that I have tried to read several times and never have managed to get through it. It's Anne Cleeve's Raven Black. This is the first Anne Cleeve's. As you can see, it was the first in the Shetland series. Stars Douglas Henshaw. Handsome man. Some people think he's handsome. So I've always been put off watching it because I haven't read the books and I didn't want to kind of spoil the books. So I've got this one. I think I've got another one somewhere as well, but this is the first one in it. And I've actually got kind of past where I've read the first couple of chapters about 4 times and then either got distracted or just not been in the mood for it. But this time I'm determined to go through it, and I've read 55 pages. I'm on chapter 8. How many pages are there? Is that the end of it, or is that... No, that's a different one. Chapter 48. So, yeah, so kind of 360 pages. So I've got a way to go with that, but I should be able to read that this week as well. So those are the 2 books that I shall be concentrating on this week. So yeah, there we go, BookTube. Have I got on? I was going to make this a really short episode, and as tend to happen, I kind of wimble on. But I've wimbled on about a good book, so that's a good thing. So there we go. So me and my BookTube cat, who's in a little kind of puddle over there. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. and look forward to seeing you again soon. This has been lovely BookTube. Let's do this again.